Nimrod, according to the beliefs, was going to come back as his son through the process of reincarnation, and his son was known as Tammuz. Now, I want you to pay close attention over here to his staff. This is the staff of Tammuz, and if you notice, it looks like a cross, but most importantly, look at the pine cone that is atop of it. I will explain this in a bit. Now, here we have an ancient stela of Tammuz, again, holding his staff, and over here it was broken, but you can see if you look here that it was at one time a pine cone. Now, the reason it is a pine cone is because in the occult world, there are certain trees that are considered very, very sacred. In the Illuminati, the most sacred of all the trees to them is the oak, because the oak tree is very strong, very long-lived, and very durable. This is what the Illuminati envisioned for themselves. In Egypt, for their god, the most sacred of all trees was the palm tree. In different places, it just depends, like in Scandinavia, for Odin, his sacred tree would have been the fir tree. It just depends on which branch of the occult you're looking at. But in this system, pine cone is the most sacred. It's the pine tree. So then, why is there? And I'm going to show you this. I have to show you. This giant pine cone is actually in Vatican City itself. This is the pine cone, the sacred pine cone of Tammuz. Now, here we have a picture of Pope John Paul II with the bent and twisted cross. But what I want you to take a look at carefully is that the cross itself is on top of the sacred pine cone of Tammuz. This is the same pine cone.
Before Doc goes on to explain more instances of the pine cone in use in the Catholic Church, we need to pause to examine the bent, twisted crucifix to which Doc has alluded. Please notice the crucifix that Pope John Paul II is holding up to the people at left. Study it closely, and you will realize it is not a traditional crucifix as we show below. Rather, this crucifix is known as a bent cross. But what does that mean? For the answer to that question, let us turn to a Roman Catholic author, Piers Compton, writing in his book, The Broken Cross, Hidden Hand in the Vatican, Channel Islands, Neville Spearman, 1981. This bent crucifix is a sinister symbol used by Satanists in the 6th century that had been revived at the time of Vatican II. This was a bent or broken cross on which was displayed a repulsive and distorted figure of Christ, which the black magicians and sorcerers of the Middle Ages had made use of to represent the biblical term Mark of the Beast. Yet not only Paul VI, but his successors, the two John Pauls, carried that object and held it up to be revered by crowds who had not the slightest idea that it stood for Antichrist. On page 56, Compton prints a picture of the Pope, John Paul II, holding this bent or broken cross, just as we have shown it at the left. Therefore, Pope John Paul II is telling all the occultists the world over that he is not a traditional pope, but a pope that is committed to carrying out the role of the world religious leader as called for in the New World Order plan. Another Roman Catholic author, Malachi Martin, makes this same claim, that Pope John Paul II is committed to the New World Order plan in his book, The Keys to This Blood. Since a picture is worth 1,000 words, we have printed the traditional crucifix to the right. As you can see, the cross here is not bent in any way, top or bottom. Further, the picture of Jesus Christ is a full figure without any kind of distortion or disfiguration. The traditional Roman Catholic crucifix is very, very different from the bent cross above. We Protestants have always objected to the traditional crucifix because it holds Jesus Christ up to continual shame, which is forbidden in Hebrews 6:6. Indeed, this is the basis upon which we Protestants object to the entire Mass, but that is the subject of another article. As you can see, the crucifix which Pope John Paul II is holding up to adoring crowds is not the traditional crucifix, but is the satanic bent or broken cross. This bent crucifix was created by Satanists to depict Antichrist and his mark of the beast. Very soon you will see the appearance of a global leader, calling himself the Christ, who will claim to be Jesus Christ returned, the Jewish Messiah, and the avatar figure for which all the major religions are awaiting, all in one man. This will be Antichrist. Then very quickly thereafter, a global religious leader will step forward to aid the Antichrist. This religious leader will possess the same miraculous power of Antichrist. At this moment, the prophecy of Revelation 13:11-14 will be fulfilled. This global religious leader will be the biblical false prophet. The New World Order plan calls for this global religious leader, the false prophet, to be the Roman Catholic Pope.
And if we look over here, we have another one of the same Pope with Christ, as you can see, on top of the sacred pine cone of Tammuz. There's absolutely no difference. This is being passed down from the occult into the occult. That's because it's the same religion, people. It's just got a different name. I tell folks, I don't know how many times I've told people over the last 30-some odd years, the occult religion has never changed. It's always been the same. All that's ever changed were the names. As we went from one culture to another, it just blended in, became part of the whole, and the names changed. That's the only thing. It's always remained the same.